Hey there, fifth graders and fifth grade families. This is Mrs. Bowers here, fifth grade math teacher extraordinaire. So I'm posting a new video today. I know it's been a while, but I do have a lot of requests on reviewing and practicing dividing decimals. Now, a quick little plug. If your child is addicted to their phones and they are addicted to TikTok, tell them, hey, while you're on TikTok, follow your math teacher. Dancing Math Teacher is my name on TikTok. On there you will find many videos of me breaking down skills and concepts that I teach here in the fifth grade. So today's video on YouTube is specifically targeted for this week's math homework, which is targeting the objective of dividing decimals. I almost forgot. Dividing decimals. So I'm going to turn my computer to the screen and we're going to do some problems together. Okay? All right, so far in this unit, we have added, subtracted, multiplied, and now we are dividing decimals. I'm going to show you a couple ways that we can think about dividing. So when we divide, we have a dividend, which is the number being divided, and our divisor is the number of groups we have. So let's start off with just the generic basic understanding of division. Let's say Mrs. Bowers has 6 pieces of candy, and I want to divide my candy with me and Miss Hallett. This expression would be 6, that's the total number of candies I have, and I'm dividing them between 2 people. So I know that this part and this part, they're both 3. Now this same idea or concept of dividing or making equal groups works for dividing as well. Let's say, for example, I have the problem of I have 81 cents and I want to divide 81 cents, oopsie, sorry, I go too high, 81 cents between 9 people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Well, this here is the same idea. I'm dividing my dividend, 81 hundredths of a dollar, into 9 equal groups, okay? What I told my fifth graders today is to think about our basic multiplication and division facts. Those are the facts that we know fluently, like at a snap of a hat, or a drop of a hat. Snap of a finger? Who knows? So I have 81 hundredths divided by 9. What we know is that this number as a decimal, 81 hundredths, can be written a different way. 81 hundredths is the same as 81 hundredths, and I'm still dividing by 9. Well, now this is a basic math fact that I know like the back of my hand. This math fact is 81 divided by 9. 81 divided by 9 is 9. But the answer is not 9. The answer is 9 hundredths. And then 9 hundredths written as a decimal is 0 and 9 hundredths. Okay? But this isn't always going to be the case. Okay? Most times, if we're lucky, division will be as easy as this, when there's just a basic math fact that I know fluently that I can answer mentally. But sometimes we're going to run into larger dividends where there might be some different play that I'm going to have to use like a model. I may have to use like a long division strategy. So let's try another example where I could do a different strategy where mental math isn't always going to be helpful. All right, let's take a look. Let's say, for example, and this is an example that we did today in class. Let's say the example is 8 and 42 hundredths divided by 2. Uh-oh. All right. I can't mentally do 842 hundredths divided by 2, but I can use a couple different approaches. The first is long division, which as a parent at home watching this, that's the way that you would probably teach your child. That's the way that we were taught, and that's the way that we know how to do it. But for some of our students who might be more visual learners, to really understand the rationale of why long division works, the place value chart can really demonstrate this. So I'll do both of these side by side. That way, parents, you can also see the connection between these two. So let's say, for example, here we go. 8 and 42 hundredths. If I was to draw a place value chart, I have 8 in the ones place. I have 4 in the tenths place. And 2 in the hundredths place. That's my dividend, or the number being divided. Next, my divisor tells me how many equal groups I need to make, or how many will belong to each group. So I'm going to want to make groups of 2, because 2 is my divisor. I always want to start with the largest place value, in this case is 8 ones. I'm going to count off by 2s to see how many groups of 2 I can make. Here's 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. I made 1 group of 2, 2 groups of 2, 3 groups of 2, 4 groups of 2 out of 8 ones. There are no ones left over, so I'll move now to the tenths place. There are 4 tenths. Again, I'll make groups of 2. Here's a group of 2. Here's a group of 2. I have 2 groups of 2 in the tenths place. There's no tenths left over, so let's move to the hundredths place. Look, easy peasy lemon squeezy. There is 1 group of 2. So here, parents and students, my answer is 4 and 21 hundredths. Okay, cool. But Mrs. Bowers, you mentioned long division. Now, as a parent, that's my strength. That is my go-to for division. All right, cool. Let's work it out then. Let's say, parents, you want to encourage your child to use long division. I'm going to do this work alongside the place value chart. That way you can see how these two strategies align. As a parent, we would say, okay, here's 8. How many groups of 2 can I make if I have 8? Well, if you look back at the place value chart, we had 8 ones. We made groups of 2. We can make 4 groups of 2 because 4 groups of 2 is 8. Were there any ones left over after I made 4 groups of 2? No, there weren't. Now, when parents or teachers say, bring down the 4. Okay, great, but what does that mean, bring down the 4? If you look at our place value chart, that 4 is because there's 4 tenths. There's 4 in the tenths place. Now again, we'll ask ourselves, how many groups of 2 can I make from 4 tenths? Oh, we can make 2 groups of 2 because 2 groups of 2 is 4. When I made 2 groups of 2, were there any tenths left over? No. Then parents, you might say, bring down the 2. Okay, but what does that mean? Where is there a 2? Why am I bringing it down? What does that mean? Well, it's because there's 2 hundredths still. How many groups of 2 can I make from 2 hundredths? 1. 1 group of 2 is 2. Were there any hundredths left over? No. Our remainder is 0. But where does the decimal point go in our answer? Well, if the decimal point is between the ones place and the tenths place in my dividend, it'll go directly above it in its answer. Alrighty, 5th graders and parents, I hope that you found this helpful. If you need another resource, I did tell your students to